Alright, so we did a case study on social media and The Voice. Social media was introduced from the beginning of the show. It's what helped The Voice really rise in ratings right in the beginning, and it's still putting it up there on tops of lists. The producers knew that the show, well, that the younger generation was moving into the social media age. So they decided it was best to go along with them. They kept making changes along with the show just to fit in with the new age, and kept changing the colors on the set thanks to inputs from fans. The new ways of voting, online texting, through Twitter and everything. So, and they knew if they got their audience involved with the show, the numbers were great.
And then one of the biggest aspects of the show is the social media room, and that's where everything backstage happens. It's where most of the backstage tweets come from, and there's going to be fan questions that get answered on the show. It's one of the biggest reasons why the show's where it's at, because there's a lot of fan interaction, and they feel like they're involved what's going on in the show, and that it's really going to be a big draw to get people into it. And as of the last time we checked, the show had over 1 million followers on their Twitter account. I think it was like 1,250,000 or something like that. And the show's had over 250 trending topics on Twitter, and I think 113 of them went worldwide. So wherever people were watching, they saw those topics. Then in the social media room, they have Christina Milian, who's the social media correspondent. And it was big for them to get her to do it because where she's an artist herself, she knows how to interact with the fans. So by running all the social media aspects, she's going to know how to interact with fans when she sees any tweets that come up either to her or any of the judges or anything. And her role is basically to bridge the live show to the fans' house. She'll post pictures, videos, pictures, handles, and handles the interviews backstage with the artists and coaches. And she's basically on to handle the online aspects of the show, and she'll occasionally do Q&A sessions, which is going to help you draw fans even more to the show because they'll still feel connected to the show.
As you can see, live tweeting is a picture of something that goes on during the show. It has on the bottom a tweet from Blake Shelton, one of the judges. Well, the coaches, not a judge. He tweets all the time. They encourage their judges, well, coaches, to tweet during the show, and they'll randomly put them up there as along with fans tweeting. Tweeting from artists and coaches happen all the time. There are a lot of tweets that come across the bottom, like I've said already, to show some impact on the show and fans maybe feel like they get some airtime. Shows how others may feel as well, how they feel about how an artist did. If they did really amazing and whatnot, they'll put some tweets on the bottom just to maybe raise some votes for the person. The original Voice. NBC took the idea from a Dutch version that was airing. NBC hired Nicole Uron to modify the show and bring it into the social media age.
Just like kind of the biggest thing that they were worried about was that the audience for the Dutch version was about the size of Rhode Island, and then they had to translate that to the U.S. That was going to be a big issue they were facing, trying to translate it to a much larger audience than what the Dutch had imagined.
What she was doing was bringing it into the social media age, making the stage bigger so the artists could travel down while singing, interact with fans, maybe give high fives or whatever. Make the audience feel like they're actually there watching it while they're at home sitting. Created a larger social media aspect of the show, which brought the coaches, the artists, and the fans' tweets in before, during, and after the show. She wanted this instead of like the competitors shows only do before and after, and it's just the show. There's no coaches, there's no artists tweeting along at the same time. And she also wanted the online version of the show to be just as good and as real as watching live viewing. The Voice continues to be the highly rated show, push basically American Idol out of the way. and it keeps up to date with the social media age, which, like we said, keeps it there and keeps it with the younger generation. So.
Questions?
Is that the only show that has that like social media room?
I mean, this
And a
is the
social
only,
media correspondent? Because that's the only one I've heard.
other shows have had those, but this is like one that everyone watches, so we basically wanted to just focus on.
Like
The
for
Voice, so.
its like biggest competitors like American Idol or X Factor or shows like that, it's really the only one that has those from what I can tell, and
Yeah.
that's really what helps it stand alone from the other ones, is that there's a lot more fan interaction than the other shows offer.
I was just wondering if the others are starting to copy it, you know, with like the social media.
I haven't seen, but I would think that they would, because, you know, if you see somebody succeeding with one thing, they're going to try to copy it as much
Oh,
as they
yeah.
can to draw those viewers
Oh, yeah.
back.
Our keynote speaker from Twitter talked about television, particularly being a prime space for Twitter, an extension of the television viewing experience, particularly for Twitter wanting the desire to own the second screen experience, and being an extension of the television show out once the show is off the air. So how does The Voice provide that experience? It airs 2 or 3 days a week.
This is one thing that I know is in the paper. They have the Voice Live app where they'll put highlights of the show that were driven from comments that were put on Twitter, and they also will do like Q&A sessions sometimes. And there's also the fifth coach game, which is kind of like fantasy football, where you just like pick contestants, and so whoever gets the highest points, like for your team, is going to win that night or whatever. It's like that's going to be the biggest way they promote the show while it's not currently airing, is through the app.
Do you think the social integration of the show at the outset was something that helped make it be successful in the ratings? Because I mean, American Idol has been around long before this show. It's essentially a similar concept, and there's other competition shows and singing competitions. So why is this one outperforming American Idol
I think
in the ratings?
you want to take this? Or?
Well, it's got like it's like the coaches. They're there. It's a completely different concept from American Idol. American Idol is just singers there. You got your judges, maybe help them along a little bit, but The Voice, you got people actually there helping them along. So it brings a little emotional aspect into it. It's like we're helping these people along with their careers, and then it brings social media into it, because you're basically, fans feel like they're involved. They're seeing what's going on behind backstage, Q&As. They see little video clips all the time, them messing around in the social media room. So they feel like they're actually there, and that's why I feel like social media has helped push this along, because fans are like involved.
And with the judges, they also had, they've also brought in guest judges to help, well, those guest coaches to help assist the actual coaches, and I think that helps draw people in, because they want to see what some of their other favorite artists have to say about the contestants that are on the show. Scott?
Do you think just because the Voice is like newer, like I think it's only been like 4 seasons, 5 seasons?
This is the fourth.
This is
And American Idol's been like, I don't know now, a lot more than that show, so again, like double it. Do you think that's a reason why it's so popular?
I think that has something to do with it, but I mean, like, this is like completely different, because there's a lot more fan interaction. The fact that the Voice constantly reinvents itself, like how they've changed the stage and keep on adding new aspects. It's going to keep it fresh and not lose anything. That's something I've heard a lot of people say about American Idol. It's the same now as it has been since it first came on.
All right, great. Thanks, guys.